According to many parapsychologists and investigators, water is a natural transmitter or conductor of psychic energy. They might not be far off, since the actual molecular structure of water is designed to hold a memory or a footprint of information. Even the understanding of the universe has changed to a state that it's an informed universe that remembers things and adjusts with each Big Bang that happens. So here's my question. Since all the water on Earth has been on Earth since the first water ever happened, how do you discharge and cleanse the water around us in New Jersey? So does that mean every shipwreck off Long Beach Island is going to influence and affect every swimmer that is in the ocean? You will feel the pain, the anguish, fear, and the sorrow that they felt when you go for that summer swim. If that's the case, then besides all the microplastics in our water and anything else that companies add, we need to worry about the psychic properties of our water. Wow, now I can't drink water without having to worry that my emotional state is going to be affected by it. So on this episode of Surely a Mystery, I've spent a few months researching our local New Jersey waterways and the ghosts and spirits which you might encounter. I have no answers, my New Jersey friends, and those in faraway places, even like Vietnam, information. But you might want to think about these things when you go boating. Welcome to this episode of Surely a Mystery. I wanted to tackle waterways and their psychic properties, especially for a state that has so much water visible and underneath the ground. Think that I'm kidding? Did you know that southern New Jersey sits atop the massive Kirkwood-Cohansey Aquifer, which contains approximately 17 to 17.7 trillion gallons of fresh water? That's literally enough water to cover the entire state in 10 feet of water. Then think about how many edges of the land actually touch water. Well, that's 1,792 miles to be exact. So if you live on a pond, a lake, a stream, a creek, or a beach, you touch water. Salt or fresh water has power and energy to it. Now just think about spring tides when the moon pulls on our water supply, and it increases its height by nearly 20%. You can't escape it. Lastly, did you forget about rain, sleet, hail, or snow? That's water. It might be frozen, but it's still water. But here is something to really make you think. If you're a male, you have about 60% of your body weight in water. Women are 55%. And of course, infants have the most water. That can be almost 154 pounds of water depending on how much you weigh. If you're fatter or have a higher fat concentration, you're going to have less. And therefore, that's why you need to drink more to recover. So, what water are you taking in? Water, that's what I tell my students, is really nothing more than dinosaur pee. Yep, think about it. Your water that you drink has passed through people, animals, mountains, and everything living on Earth by this time in our planet's growth. All those things have energy, emotions, and even if some just have a small percentage, is put into the water. It might pass through you, but you feel it. Have you ever drank some water and felt amazing? But then other times you felt down or depressed? It's the energy of it, the psychic energy of it. Just think about it. Whether you believe it or not, maybe some parapsychologists should study it. What if you decided to create a reservoir for this water? Yep, your own personal psychic holding tank. Have you ever heard about Round Valley Reservoir in Clinton? So, it was built in 1960. What's its nickname? Take a guess. The New Jersey Bermuda Triangle. Why, you ask? 26 people have gone missing. only 6 of them have ever been found. They think that a fisherman did find the foot of one, but it's never been confirmed who it belonged to. You can blame the fact that it's super deep, 180 feet deep in parts, and cold. The first person who went missing did it in 1971, and it took until the spring of 1974 for them to be found. Out of all the deaths, only 2 of them were suicide. Adding to the feel of the reservoir is the fact that it's deathly quiet in the area. And there are weird wind cycles because of the tree-lined edges of this man-made water lake. It's not natural. Many people tend to capsize, and their boats and canoes will wash up on the shore later. How about John Kubu, 37? He vanished in 1989, but his body was found in 1993. I will speculate that it's a good way to commit murder. Oh, she or he fell overboard and I couldn't find them. They just disappeared. Knowing that they probably won't be found for a while, you could hit them on the head with something and it wouldn't show up by the time the body was found. An experienced boater says you have to have a bigger than normal boat because of the wind. You have to have a vest, and the wind seems to be worse between 10 and 11 a.m., not during the night in some New Jersey waterways. The deepest parts are about 50 degrees on average, and that'll cause shock to most humans. How long before you die? According to the New Jersey State Police, it can be as little as 30 seconds. Some say that the bottom is probably littered with tons of farms and homes. In fact, modern divers have confirmed that near to the shoreline, there are actually foundations of buildings, that it's roughly about 1,500 to 1,800 feet from the shore. Naturally, remnants like tree stumps and dead vegetation for sure. Now let's add one more element. In December 2024, lights were seen over and in the reservoir at night. That was during that whole drone thing, but this area is nowhere near where most of the sightings were. It's actually northwest. No offense to anyone, but there really isn't anything significant near it. No military base, a small golf park called Stanton Ridge, the Search and Rescue Club, a steel company, not much. So why have drones flying there? I know that someone out there listening is going to go to aliens in the water or aliens swooping in to refuel with the water. Fine. FBI and New Jersey State Police even investigated. They might be small drone enthusiasts and nothing to worry about. Notice that they didn't even go to the aliens. Prior to 2024, nothing of note has really been reported. Could this be a natural effect? Poor planning plus high wind and cold water equals death? The breeze on the bottom means the body is hooked there and might never be found, ever? Could there be some part of it that people lose hope and don't even try and swim for help? Or even try to get out and back into the boat or canoe? There are several news reports where people have committed suicide. The coroner states that there were signs that the victims just gulped water in, but they weren't even trying to scream, or were they in shock? Could the energy of lacking be so calm, quiet, and distracting that you're one with the water and you just give up? Well, what if survivors say? How did they really feel during the event? So often, we don't really ask drowning victims. We ask other survivors of fire, shark attacks, avalanches, but never really drowning victims. Why not? I'm kind of curious. What about our lovely river of death? Any guesses? Yep, the Passaic River. Why? Well, industrial pollution for sure. It's actually a Superfund site because it was so heavily polluted. But how about its reputation of being a lovely place to dump bodies? Yep, just toss the body and forget about it. It can be also the suicides, or like Ida, just flooding that sucked them into the river from a storm? What about the number of poor homeless who live under underpasses and then have to try and sleep through during storms or full moons when the river's banks rise? It then carries them away. But there are 5 places where police and federal authorities note that most body dumpings could be the reason, and mostly fear, like in overdose, and people panic and they want to get rid of their friend, or someone who dies suddenly and someone can't pay for funeral costs. I'm not kidding. Think about it. What do you do when you can barely survive and then somebody in your family dies? Think about it. Like in the old days. I honestly believe that our cemeteries don't have all the bodies. Why do I say that? In the old days in the US, even in New York City or Boston, people literally buried relatives out back. Or if it was an apartment-like complex in the area in the middle. It wasn't until about the 18th, 19th centuries that we took bodies to mass cemeteries in the United States. And a Sunday in the park was literally a picnic at a cemetery with your relatives, since there really were no parks in the cities. You had beautiful and quiet grounds to hang out with your dead relatives. Deaths in Passaic area are actually more than 84% in any of the major cities in the US. Is this area influenced by the deadly water? I mean, you can feel more there. Although there is no direct causal link between rivers and cities and crime, major cities which are directly on rivers do actually have a higher crime rate. Could be poverty level, drugs, or lots of other factors. Could it be a cyclic factor? The psychic power of the river makes people more emotional. Remember, lots of those rivers and their paths are changed and created by the cities. Buildings shift the flow. I mean, look at Los Angeles. The LA River isn't really a river. It's a concrete channel with water in the middle. And then when it overflows, it's got trees, debris, garbage, and people oftentimes have to be rescued. How about a natural water occurrence? Something that's created by nature and has never changed. I'm talking about the Blue Hole. It's located in the Pine Barrens of Winslow. It's a pool that many say it's bottomless. Okay, I could see that since there are lots of sort of blue holes like this thing that travel deep and then curve out into larger bodies of water through caverns under the ground. So the area is like a reservoir in that it's quiet and rustic, but even more so because there's no cement or man-made part to it. The bottom and sides might be made of something called sugar sand. It's kind of like quicksand. There are places where it causes historical deaths. A coastal area in the UK known as Broomway Trail has documented over 100 deaths due to tidal dangers. People die in quicksand because they suffocate, or they get partially stuck and then they're trapped. They end up starving or dying of exposure. So it's unlike the movies. Quicksand really only sucks you up to about your chest. It is rarer these days, but in the past, without warnings, it kind of happened more often. The surface of the blue hole actually looks like glass, and it's normally around 50 degrees. Doesn't really matter if it's hot or the middle of summer. It is nearly perfectly round and about 70 feet across. So it's basically 70% the length of a football field. The freaky thing is there are no fish, no insects, no birds, just seemingly devoid of life. How was it formed? Is it a pingo? Yep, that's a geological term. An ice mean that forms during the ice age and then it melts. Or a meteorite that hit and created the pond when water filled it up. Even more secluded now since the 1940s, the storm washed out the wooden bridge from Egg Harbor. What's so weird about the Blue Hole? Well, the number of deaths. Nearly every year there is a death. Some idiot, sorry, I didn't mean to malign the dead, but if they tell you don't swim in it and you do, and you take your chances, like in June 2025, a 27-year-old man drowned. August 2024, two people died who were ages 23 and 24. They say about 15 confirmed deaths since they started counting, and these don't even include the ones before the 1940s. Other blue holes across the world are worse. The Great Blue Hole, in which 130 divers died during the 15-year period from 1997 to 2012 in the Caribbean, that means they average over 8 deaths per year. Another one claims to be as many as 200 people in total. And so they're a bit more deadly, but they're bigger and they're actually right near the ocean. So it's not even secluded, and so it's much easier for people to access it. There are more men and women killed in it, and yes, it is more adolescent or younger men. Why? Daredevil attitude. They want to tempt fate, to show that they are immortal or that they can beat the odds. Why? When you enter, you go into shock from the cool temperatures, but your head in exposed area is still hot because of the summer sun, so you're ignoring the cool water temp. Then you begin to get tired and weak. Then you sink, you drown. And even if you're an athlete, you still die. A 15-year-old athlete tried to survive, but he died in 2015. So natural. But given social attitudes aside, why more men than women? Maybe it's actually cursed. Let's look at what Native Americans say. The legend of Tico and the Cursed Waters tells of an indigenous man named Tico who was betrayed by his people. As he died, he cursed the waters of the hole, making them cold as ice forever to reflect the coldness of their hearts. It is said that when fellow tribesmen were offered or ordered to dive down to retrieve his body, they were grabbed by invisible hands and dragged into the depths. The blue hole was also believed to be guarded by evil spirits who would seize anyone brave enough to swim, dragging them down to their death. The more powerful or stubborn, the more likely you were to be chosen to die. Yes, even the Jersey Devil is associated with this blue hole. It's like his own personal bathtub. No joke. Maybe some people say that people disturb him and he snatches them up. I think that it's so consistent because of its own legend and its natural makeup. It tempts people to challenge it, to beat it. So that could be psychic or just plain problems with society. Let's return to the world of man-made lakes. Penburn. It actually has no swimming restriction, but guess what? Still idiots die every year because they still decide to swim in it. It was a former sand quarry and is quite deep in places, and even has a ledge dropping down over 90 feet. Again, man challenges the restrictions. There's Nellie's Pond. Well, it's no longer a pond, but a poor ghostly horse who drowned in it during the Revolutionary War. It was a messenger, and it's said to still haunt the area. Or Robin's Reef Yacht Club has a man who supposedly hung himself in the bathroom and now decides to haunt it. But that's the building only. Or Ghost Lake in Jenny Jump State Park. So here is what you can get away from all the water in New Jersey. Number 1. Is it the psychic pull to some to commit suicide from some unformed force of grief or depression? 2. Is it just men being men? I mean, challenging the legends and trying to prove how strong and fearless they are. 3. Is it just the natural elements like cold water and lack of people around to save them? Or is it evil spirits, something that pulls on people and prevents them from surviving by falling into the water? Could the evil just be energy drain or even the memory of someone who lost the will to live before? Water holds a special place in our society. Water breaking signifies that you're about to be born. Many religions baptize with water. Holy water sprinkles on people to save their souls or prevent evil spirits from taking them over. In the Bible, the Great Flood, which is also in many other cultural traditions, wiping away the badness in the earth. It is both purifying and destructive. It is both life-giving and taking. It is both mysterious and wondrous. It is in every culture, everywhere, and part of our life cycle. The ghosts live in the structure of the water, in the memory of the past. It holds the history of everyone, everywhere. So it's not inconceivable that places in New Jersey hold special significance and danger because of those memories in the water. My mother would never swim because she almost drowned when she was 9 at the shore. I have never had a problem with water. I love it. I am astrologically Cancer, so I am naturally drawn to the water. I love it. When I want to meditate, I take a hot shower and sit in it. I'm drawn to water to relax and calm. So I'm drawn by the soothing feeling and sound which calms me. How do you feel in and around water? Did something in your life change how you feel about water? Swimmers and others like surfers feel drawn to the water and a kinship to it. So could water feel a similar draw to people? Why not? Things are drawn to people chemically, so why not? The chemicals in our body either are pulled towards water or repulsed by it. Why can't the water react to us? In lots of culture, water is thought of as alive. Iniwikoni translate as the water is life in Lakota. Water gods are in every culture. Saint Adger of Vernon is a Catholic saint related to swimmers and boaters. Saint Brede for Welsh wells, and the Virgin Mary as Stella Maris for sailors. So is it the water itself, the legends of what happened in that water, the beliefs we have about water, or our own personal chemical pull to the water that makes water spooky and scary? This has been Anna, your living host, recording on, yes, an island surrounded by water. And yes, my front lawn is actually below seawater. For this episode of Surely a Mystery, until the next time, think maybe not too hard about how you feel about water, but really how it makes you feel.